So, am I a fake? Am I a fraud? Did I really reverse my autism? Am I working for the Russian government and I made this video to take down the Western pharmaceutical companies? Who knows? What's up guys, Sean here, welcome back to another video. So, this is going to be aimed at more of the actual health crowd out there because I've been doing loads of different videos about just like men's health and just my own personal journey that I've really forgotten the fact that my channel is really divided in two with like people who come here for health and people who come here for just nofap and stuff. So I'm going to address a real big elephant in the room on my channel, which is the question of autism, because there are loads of people who have been asking me questions about whether or not I have actually reversed my autism, whether or not I still have autism. There are loads of people coming onto my channel saying you can't reverse autism, if you're born with it, you'll die with it. I crap you not. There are literally people that come onto my channel and they'll just post underneath, you cannot cure autism, you are stuck with autism for the rest of your life and there's nothing you can do about it and stuff like that. And I'm kind of scratching my head and thinking what the hell kind of a person writes that, you know, you got to spare some hope. But, I mean, it's a real legitimate question. There are loads of people who are really skeptical about autism. There are loads of people who don't think that you can ever get rid of autism. And then there are loads of people like me who actually have had autism and have actually reversed the symptoms. Now, a few people have asked me actually recently that actually spot on the question, is it possible to cure or reverse, or what is the difference, or do you have to live with it? And my answer is, listen, because the actual definition for autism, if you understand the actual definition for autism, then you'll actually know why it's such a weird, like, convoluted topic. Now, the actual definition I'm actually going to pull up for you guys, this is actually from the National Institute of Health of Mental Health. This is autistic spectrum disorder is defined as three things: difficulty with communication and interaction with other people, restricted interests and repetitive behaviors, symptoms that hurt people or a person's ability to function properly in school, work, life, and other areas. Now, just from that, you can see that there's a whole different plethora of things that basically could come into that to basically say that, okay, this person has autism. And it could not even be autism. It could be that they're just deficient in some sort of minerals or something, or it could be 101 different issues. So then you could say, oh, it's not autism, it's a vitamin deficiency. No, autism is not some disease that you catch. Autism is just a catch-all term for a lot of these different disabilities and a lot of these different deficiencies that we're seeing in people, especially kids these days, that is manifesting antisocial behaviors, in inabilities to concentrate and interact with people, like bad eye contact, inabilities to process certain information, stuff like that, like social information and social cues, all the stuff that I actually used to have. Now, this is where it gets a bit dicey, because there are lots of people out there who have, or who know, or I've seen people who have full-blown autism. Like, literally, you see these people with kids, they literally cannot be let out of the pram. They are just tossing and turning and drooling all over themselves, and they can't think, and they can't, they can barely function in school. That is the very, very, very extreme end of it. Now, when I look at that kid, I don't think that that kid is autistic. I think that that kid is dealing with 101 different issues caused by 101 different things. And the only way to actually correct that is by addressing all those little things to hopefully bring the body back into balance. I don't look at that kid and say, oh, he's autistic. For example, if I were to look at, a kid with Down syndrome, like that kid has Down syndrome. There is no reversing that with our current technology. Like that kid has Down syndrome, end of story. But when I look at an autistic kid, I see a kid who has lots of different issues. Maybe it be from toxicity from environmental exposures, or it's from a vitamin and mineral deficiency, or it's from too many parasites in the gut. There's 101 different reasons why that kid may have autism. And this is why I can safely say that if you actually address those little things and start to actually, deal with the actual issues, then you can actually see a resurgence in their own natural flow, and actually their actual symptoms start to go away. I saw this in myself because I had, if you want to know about my whole autism journey, you can look at my previous video. I had massive amounts of learning difficulties. I could not communicate properly. There were all sorts of teachers saying, why doesn't he focus? Why does he rock back and forth? Yes, that can be ADHD. Why does he always drop his pen? Dyspraxia, dyslexia. Everything will just go into this spectrum. I also had other mood issues. I had all sorts of physical aches and pains and joint issues. I had difficulties communicating. Like the rate, if you think that I'm talking fast now, back in the day, I would like strain to get out sentences. It was like sieving through it was like dropping all my thoughts into a sieve and having these drip, drip, drip of words and letters coming out and trying to form them in. And I remember vividly trying to form them into a coherent sentence. But the thing is that those autistic symptoms came and went based on environmental factors like my diet, my lifestyle, and all sorts of other stuff. And I didn't even realize that until later on, where I realized that I had all sorts of issues, like I had heavy metal toxicity. I found out that I did a challenge test, and I found out that there was more mercury in my system that was unsafe levels for someone who was at least 50 years old. And then I also realized that my system was totally gummed up. My gut was gummed up. I had all sorts of candida, fungus, parasites. I also was eating really, really badly. I was full of all sorts of toxins from all this junk food. And once I started to address those issues, those autistic symptoms started to go away. This is why when I say, is it possible to cure autism or reverse autism? It is, but at the same time, it's not as simple. At the same time, don't look at it as if it's something like Down syndrome, or if it's something like some big one catch-all categorized term. Because then we can look at the kid who has full-blown autism and it's really hard to recover and say, ha, you can't cure him. And then we can look at the guy who has, problems making eye contact, or, difficulties learning in school, goes on a really good diet, and all of a sudden his autism is gone. You could say, oh no, that wasn't autism, that was a dietary deficiency. Autism is not this thing that you label on someone. It is a multitude of issues that is going on with a person that is then leading up to these broadly defined difficulties, like I listed there, with difficulties communicating and interacting, and just in general, like behavioral problems. Now, I actually have a lot of sympathy for people, because there are more and more people basically being diagnosed with autism. Like there's a lot of shady stuff going on, especially in America, whereby parents are basically deliberately diagnosing their kids as being autistic so that they can actually get money from the government and they can get all this special treatment and stuff. And that sort of stuff really, really makes me sick, because it's like there are kids who are generally dealing with these learning difficulties. And watching all this stuff and watching how everyone under the sun is being diagnosed as being autistic really, really, really is not helping. It's just making the issue 101 times worse. Just like if I was to say, oh yeah, I have cancer when I don't, and I'm getting all this support, it's actually making it so that the people who do have cancer actually get a lot less support. So I can understand why people are really, really skeptical about whether or not you can cure or reverse autism, or why there's everyone and their son actually, everyone and their kid now has autism and it's just a fad. Honestly, it isn't. The resurgence and the massive explosion of autism is related to a lot of environmental issues like toxicity, pollution, and kids getting sicker a lot younger. There are 101 different reasons. One, it could be from bad diets. It could be from, because we have a massive amounts of sugar in the systems now, which is disrupting our gut microbiome. And if you disrupt the gut microbiome, then it can cause symptoms with the brain that are also related to autism and can be seen as ADHD, bipolar, all sorts of other issues. It could be really, really convoluted reasons, like for example the epidemic of fatherless homes, whereby kids are being raised without fathers, causing all sorts of emotional issues, causing them to turn to drugs, causing them to binge on junk food at a really early age, which will then cause the autistic symptoms. You see what I mean? It can literally be 101 different reasons why someone has autism. This is why I say autism is not some big catch-all. Autism is not some label that you stamp on someone. It is a catch-all term for a problem that is a result of multiple different issues. This is why it is possible to reverse autism, just as easily as it is possible to reverse a B12 deficiency by taking B12. So this is why, and I keep saying this is why I apologize. This is my autism coming back, by the way. And this is why I'm going to keep spreading this message that autism is reversible. I'm going to change the name of my video though, because I think it is a bit too spicy. I think cured is not the right word. I think reversing is a lot better issue, because when someone has autism, like I said, it's because of all these issues coming together, and it is reversible. There is hope. You can get through it. There is a way out, and I'm going to keep spreading the message. So I hope that sort of cleared some of it up. I'm going to have to go through this and edit it, because there's a lot of stuff that I actually wanted to do, but like I said, I'm kind of strapped for time and it's kind of getting dark outside and I still have to make a vlog. So post any questions you have. I have an email, I'll post it in the bottom, and I hope this clears some stuff up. If not, I'll make another video about it. Free man out, and peace.